Did not expect to be doing this video, but the fall of the Fifth Republic of France on December 4th made me wonder what is going on, as if that isn't a question we're all asking as we wake up in the morning. And it seems like a whole lot of chaos going on in our world. So let's take a look not only at the Bazi Chinese Astrology of France, but also President Emmanuel Macron, and what is going on with this character Barnier. So welcome, my name is Lydia, and this is the Feng Shui and Bazi Chinese Astrology channel. On this channel, I often like to read the charts of famous people because I think it helps us to better understand our own charts and our own lives. So welcome again. If this sparks interest for you, please subscribe, hit the bell, and so that you don't miss a single video. If you like it, hit like. If you have a comment, please, please, please keep it kind and respectful. After all, I don't have an opinion. I have learned through this channel. It's actually the more that you can be objective just in life in general, the easier it honestly is. You just don't get caught up in it all with a hard line of I'm for this and against that. I'm just kind of floating in the in-between, giving you all an astrology analysis that is deeply rooted in intuition and my intuitive voice. So all that being said, there's no political commentary happening here, so just be kind to me on that front. So when we look at all of this, I have so many notes. And it's interesting because as I was looking into this, I had no idea that there were all these republics of France. The country of France is near and dear to my heart. My first husband was from France. I studied French for almost 10 years. And I have traveled to France numerous times. So it's a place that, you know, as soon as I think of it, I have memories associated with that country. And it saddens me that it's going through such an upheaval, and has been actually for years. And I think it's just where collectively we are on this planet. You know, here in the United States, it feels like we're on the edge of some massive shifts and changes. And it's all in our astrology, which is one of the reasons why I enjoy looking at the astrology, whether it's a country or a big famous person or just someone like you and me, right? It's not that we want to look at this with fear and dread, oh my God. It's more of curiosity and wonder as to like what's going on in this collective, but also in our individual lives. So that if I were to do your chart and we unpack what your next year is going to be, it gives you the information, and information is power. That's what we're learning in this age of technology. And this power of this knowledge of what your chart is helps you to understand how to navigate if there are difficult months or a difficult year ahead, or even a difficult luck cycle that is 10 years. It doesn't mean that we feel defeated. No, you're empowered, right? You're empowered to say, I am going to choose to orchestrate my life in a way that even if I have shitty astrology, I can work with it to my advantage. And I help you do that. So I'll put links below because now is the best time to get your chart read with me. If you get a written chart, you'll get a free 2025 update with month-by-month predictions specific to your chart, your Bazi astrology, which is awesome. All right, France, the Fifth Republic. I dug around, and the majority of the astrologers out there have said that this was signed into beingness, countryness, October 6th, 1958 at 6:30 in the evening. No daylight savings time in 1958, so we're not going to make that adjustment. And I was looking back at the First Republic back in 1792, the Second Republic, 1848, and so on. And I thought, wow, that's a whole nother video looking at the history of France and the timing of each of those republics, and then the history that then ensued, right? Because it's a soul contract, whether it is a country or an individual person. It's a soul contract with that collective. The community of that country is under that contract of that chart. And as we are citizens of a country, so too are we impacted by that astrology, meaning that if your country is going through a challenging time, you're going through a challenging time, it is going to be that much harder. Whereas if you're in a pretty groovy place with your astrology, great time of your life, things are going well, the world might be falling apart around you, but it's not as impactful, right? Okay, so when we look at the chart of France with that date of October 6, 1958, these are the four pillars that we have. We have a Yang Earth dog for the year. That is justice, right? That is Lady Liberty. That is justice. The month is Yin Metal Rooster. The day is Yang Fire Dragon. And the hour is Yin Fire Rooster. Now, traditionally, in a Bazi astrology, the year is your elders. The month is your parents and older siblings. The day is you, your loved one, your partner in life. Husband, wife, partner. The hour is your younger siblings, children, and career. Now, when we're looking at a country, it's obviously very different. The way I look at it is the year is the ancestral journey of that country. Okay, which would be, in this instance, all the republics. That collective karma is sitting there in that dog. And what is it? Yang Earth dog. Yang Earth on top of Yang Earth. That is solid and strong. And it shows, again, it's about justice. It's about fairness. And it's about standing up for what you believe in. It feels very strong, like we will protect ourselves. And that's the collective ancestral history of France in this now astrology that they have. The month is the government. It's like the parents of the citizens of a country. So that month is super important. And that's a yin metal rooster. Yin metal sitting on top of yin metal. And this is all about success and prosperity. A government that is outspoken, colorful, possibly loud, possibly cocky, egocentric, a show off, flaunting. But it's interesting that the ancestral line is all yang and the government line is all yin, very feminine. The day Yang Fire Dragon is like, wow. It's a very strong sense of leadership. And in fact, both the dog in the year and the day of the dragon, besides the fact that they're arch enemies, which is unfortunate, because what that means is that the people, the day master being the people of France, are looking at their ancestral history. There is a contention with the history, so that the people in this now time of France, the French citizens, are feeling a sense of opposition, antagonism, argument, rebellion against their history, the governments that have come before. And the dragon being the day is such a signature for not just leadership, but innovation, imagination, otherworldliness, wanting to reimagine themselves, right? And this again started in 1958. This republic is not that old, right? But the other part about this is that the day is in void, which means that it has a hard time kind of getting itself going. But once it does get itself going, it might be a little stop and start and not exactly in a constant flow. It's a little harder to get traction, a little harder to get things accomplished. But once they do, the French people enjoy life. They enjoy what they're doing. And the government supports them. The mother supports them. And they are rooted in their duty, their responsibility to honoring not just their work, but their family, right? Family, home, all of that. The hour is their ability to thrive, and the children, the next generation. And this is a yin fire rooster. So we've got now 2 roosters. All right. This is when we're looking at a country or a chart for an individual person. All right. So you've got a battle going on with the year and the day. Then you've got the month and the hour as a rooster. Now you can see this, and this is coming to me as literally as I'm saying this information is coming to me. This is the youth rising up loud. Listen to us. Here we are, roosters. We got something to say. And who are they talking to? The month. The government. It is since this time of 1958. Each generation of young people that come in find their own way to rise up in their voice, to be seen, to be heard. And it's an interesting transition then as the younger generations, as they become older, there is so much in this that is rich, that feels very colorful and imaginative. Again, innovative comes to mind, and creative. This country is born with a ton of leadership, a sense of almost aloofness, self-centeredness, volatility, emotional volatility, kind of like you get very impassioned about something and really are fighting hard for it. It's also a country that is very smart, intelligent, gifted in the arts and in education. Also very interested in the occult, in things like astrology and tarot and things like that. And the interesting thing is that for this chart, the nobleman star, which is their angel protection here, is the rooster. And that's a big saving grace. It keeps them afloat even when there's great storms. Here's the thing. 2 roosters is a self-penalty. It shows a country that basically, like I was insinuating just a second ago, is at battle with itself. It's the old way of thinking crashing up against the new way of thinking. The old order, the new order. Old-fashioned, innovative. Patriarchal, breaking that. What comes after a patriarchal world that we have been in for all this time? What comes next? Is it the rise of the great divine feminine, or is it something where we're able to see the true Taoist symbol of the yin and yang? True equality, right? I don't know. But there is a lot of, it feels like friction and tension in this republic. And as the government of France has fallen apart, and we look at the president, and we look at this prime minister who didn't even make it, like the shortest in history, his role in office. They just, no confidence in this guy. And what happened here? What is happening? What is happening? I imagine there are a lot of French people saying, what's happening? All right, so let's take a look at a couple more pieces here that are really rich. And I want to come to this point of understanding how relationships work, even in a work environment as huge as a government. All right, so Barnier, I was actually amazed that these people have their information online. Thank you, Astro Theme, for always being there for me. Astro Seek is another one that I look at. January 9th, 1951, 1640 is Barnier's birth time. Now, what I want to talk about is elements. So Barnier is a yin earth person at 38%, pretty strong. Where his greatest, most of his chart is earth and metal. It's pretty cold and dry. 38% earth, basically no fire there hardly at all, and hardly any wood. So as an earth person, wood is what controls him. That's his career, and it's just not there. Fire, what supports him, hardly there. When you are lacking in the element that rules you as well as the element that supports you, it shows a real weakness in your ability to hold a job with any measure of success and longevity. So this chart really needs fire with wood in order for it to even feel more balanced, but also for him to have success. The fact that he is 40% metal, I find interesting because the country of France's chart is 50% metal. And on top of that, Macron's chart, his element as himself is yang water, and that's 63%, showing that the government of France as metal feeds and nourishes Macron. And what does that mean? This is like that symbiotic relationship. This guy has so much of his own element. It's just the Macron world. El monde de Macron. I'm telling you, you've got to love some of these politicians. It is literally his world. It is just all about him. Yeah, it is all about him. And the fact that France has all that metal to support him, he's just having a heyday. So coming back to France's chart, there is a semi-metal trio reinforcing this big amount of metal. And the dog and the dragon battling each other boosts up earth, which is what feeds the metal. And fire and water, fire being the people of France, are then weakened. And along with that, the power of what rules and holds the country in a place of stability is greatly weakened. And there is hardly any water. In that, Macron is helpful to the country of France because his position actually helps to bring stability. I would love to know if there's anyone watching this from France that could concur with this, because it's an interesting thing, right? That if we're playing with the elements of these two people, this is how it could go. And as Macron has all that water and feeling like this stability, the one thing that is also doing is in showing that it is a ruling power, is that it weakens the control metal of France. It loses control and gives its power to its president. I'll pause that thought. It's interesting, right? So let's break down the 5 elements before going into these casts of characters. I also want to mention France's current luck cycle, because that is also an interesting piece here, for sure. Oh my gracious. Okay, so the 5 elements of France, it is a yang fire country, balanced at 23%, but it has no wood, like 2%, hardly any wood. So there is no wood nourishing it. So in that way, it does not feel strong. It is balanced in what it creates and produces, 23%. And that earth at 23%, even though it's balanced, is a little bit shaky because it has to give so much to this dominant metal. It is a fake follow power chart at 50% metal with just a little bit of water, 2%. So there's no water there to give the metal something to do. So it's stuck in this power, right? This wanting to have control. And then along comes President Macron with all that water in his chart, and the metal then has somewhere to go. It puts all of that focus, that sense of, being in control, and gives its power to Macron. The current luck cycle of yin wood rabbit is double yin wood. Very interesting here, because the presence of wood is great because it supports the country. It's feeding the fire. It's also helping to control the metal, but it's in a battle with the government, the month of the rooster, and the hour of the rooster, which is the younger generation, and its ability to thrive being greatly challenged since 2018, when this luck cycle began. The exact date being February 3rd, 2018. And this period of France, from 2018 to 2028, and there are a lot of big countries going through luck cycle changes from next year on, that is very interesting to watch. Including the United States. 2026 is going to be like something like we've never seen. So this period for France is all about the government, all about the government. It's also a very strong time in France for women, mothers, education, childcare, children, law. And the rabbit, along with the dragon, this is an interesting piece here. Because in Bazi Chinese Astrology, a trio or a semi-trio can overcome an opposition in a chart. For instance, the rabbit fighting the two roosters is assuaged. It is soothed to a certain extent by the fact that the dragon, its day, with the rabbit forms a semi-seasonal wood trio. And that wood, again, is so beneficial to this chart. So it's a little bit like, I'm really hungry. Great. Here's a big plate of food. Oops, sorry. We're going to take some of it back. So it's getting its nourishment, but there's something being held back. Okay. I still think that it's an interesting thing. This is really like, feels like stuff shaking up in France. And at the same time, the people are emboldened and strengthened. And then the rabbit and the dragon also are in a are bringing down the earth element. Because why? When wood surges, the element that it controls is then weakened, which means that as the country is emboldened since 2018, it also may feel less motivated to be productive and active. There is a lot happening in this astrology. And then it's like, and then you look at next year, and that's like a whole nother thing. We really want to focus at this point on just this now. Barnier's chart, I want to come back to, because this is someone who also, he is a yin earth person with hardly any fire nourishing his strong, about 38% earth. He has a ton of metal, 40%, balanced water, 15%. Wood is weak at 6%. That is his career. And this is what his current luck cycle since 2019 of a yang fire monkey is. It's like this, because he's born in the hour of the monkey, the similarity is like competition. It feels like too many cooks in the kitchen. It feels scattered. It feels competitive, amplified, and very focused on all the action. And there's a lot of metal surging into his chart. The interesting thing is that the day that the government fell was a Yang Wood dragon year, Yin Wood pig month, because even though it was December 4th, it was before the lunar change into the month of December, according to the Chinese calendar. So we're still in November here. And the day Yang Water Tiger, the monkey and the pig form a harm to metal and wood in his chart. And so what this is showing, because this is impacting not only his luck cycle, but his hour, which is his career, this is harming metal and wood. What is that? Right? As an earth person, harming metal means he can't take action. Harming wood, his career is impacted. And also recognizing that the actions that he did take harmed his career. And because both his ruling element and mother element, parent element, wood and fire are so weak in his chart, his ability to achieve long-term success is just not there. And even though his current luck cycle brings him yang fire, this current setup, this current astrology could not support him. It's a beleaguered situation, not a surprise. And I'm actually wondering how he even got into power in the first place with an astrology like this. Now, I want to look at Emmanuel Macron because this is interesting, and I'm going to talk about his way forward from this hot mess too. And Macron is, wow, he is a force to be reckoned with. This dude is a survivor. He needs balance. For him, finding balance and harmony is like what gets him up in the morning. And he will fight for that. He will fight hard. He's an adventurous man. He chases after his desires. He's passionate. He's independent. He is competitive, very competitive. And he is one busy man. He does not sit still. He goes and goes and goes and goes and goes. He, his chart is really weird. He's born in the year of a yin fire snake. That's yin fire on top of yang fire. His month is yang water rat, and the day of yang water rat, wow, wow, wow. It's like he's a big, huge lake of water with a waterfall surrounded by fire. What an image, right? Snake, snake, rat, rat. So his hour is yin wood snake. That snake is the glow. The snake is his appeal, his sensuality, sexuality, the fact that he's a very attractive man. For some people may think that, but that is very much a snake quality. Interesting to also note that Donald Trump is born in the hour of the snake. Very intuitive, very sensing people. Interesting that traditionally snake people don't seek the spotlight. They prefer to work in the backgrounds. They're, again, so that they can intuit, they can sense what's the next thing to do. But having the day of the rat, oh, come on. Rat people are all about financial security. They want to make sure that everything feels solid there. And they also are all about the public and their friends, people. They're very social. So there's a little tug of war. I would imagine that he has time, that he, is out busy doing all the things. I would imagine he also craves the downtime, the quiet, reflective time in his office, where he can really get into that deeper, intuitive space with himself. So it's interesting because the center of his chart, his month and his day being all water, shows that a lot of his family and his loved ones are so much a reflection of himself. And again, 60% of his chart is his own element water. I mean, the guy is swimming in himself. It's all about me. It's very egocentric. His career is a revolution. He is a rule breaker. He is a revolutionary. He's somebody that wants to bring innovative change to his workplace. He is able to garner money from various resources. And he is very much guided by the patriarchy. He has the backing. He seeks, he's got some backing and some critics and challengers there. And it's around his career, all of that. So the other thing interesting in his chart is the snake is his nobleman star. That's his year and his hour. It shows that he's very blessed in this life and very blessed in his career. So when we look at what's going on right now, as we move into the current luck cycle of Macron is a yin fire sheep, which is very interesting. That yin fire helps to control the water, all of that water. And this is his luck cycle he moved into in 2022. So this time of his life, that fire that came in brings great success. It's a focus on his marriage. It's a focus on feeling in control of his life, that he's making money, he's achieving success, he's doing great. The sheep brings in yin earth, which really highlights his career. It highlights everything he's responsible for. It shows a lot of a dynamic. This is like the time of his life. This is like the peak of his life, 2022 to 2032. It's about career and family, his marriage, his home, his homeland. And it also has an undercurrent of change. And that change is like a kernel of bringing that quality that's in his hour of the revolution. It's that connection between his personal astrology and how he activates it out into the world. So there is that seed within him right now, this 10 years of, almost like that urge that you feel in yourself, something needs to change. And then you find the avenue in order to have that happen, right? So, interesting things going on. The rats in his chart, along with this new luck cycle of the sheep, brings water down. And this helping to control all of his water is a good thing. It's helping to keep him in control. 2024, the dragon of 2024, along with his sheep, unfortunately made a semi-water trio. So then it pulls the focus back to himself. And the day of the fall of the government, the tiger of that day harms the wood. And what is wood for him? His ability to take action. The pig of the month challenges his two sheep, harming wood. Again, ability to take action. Oh, I'm sorry. His two snakes and the pig are a battle of fire and water. And fire and water are what he controls and himself. The sovereignty of himself and what he's able to control. So there was a lot going on in this day around what he was able to control and what he was able to do. On top of that, his two snakes and that day of the tiger formed a fire penalty that talks about bankruptcy, lawsuits, your government falling apart. Could go like that. So going into next year for President Macron is going to be pretty easy, pretty crazy, because it mirrors his hour. It's a yin wood snake. It shows a direct challenge, a confrontation, competition, magnification, And front and center is massive, massive revolutionary change. And we're going to see a lot of this in 2025. Things, recognize this. This is a teaching I used to do with my kids, and I know that this reading is going long. If you're holding a plant in one of those little plastic containers you buy at the garden store, is that plant going to reach its full potential if it always stays in that little pot? The little pot that plant has always known, is comfortable with, and everything? No. It will never reach its full potential. The container in which it is in needs to break open in order for the plant, the country, to be put into a different pot, a new government, a new something, a new set of laws, a new whatever, in order for that plant to see if it can thrive. And sometimes they do, and sometimes they don't. Sometimes they get sick and they have to be nurtured in order to accept that they're in this new pot. The point being, friends, in all of this is we are looking at a lot of great big change going forward. And when we come back to, the good news for France as a whole is the year of the dragon that was a direct hit to them and their sovereignty as a people, amplifying, aggravating the conflict that is systemic in this Fifth Republic chart, born in the year of the dog, day of the dragon. So unfortunate. That eases. That's helpful. The yin wood here brings the focus, just like its current luck cycle, to its government. So what I would say is, yes, going into 2025, France will find its new government. That is an active, ongoing thing that will be happening. And the snake forms a semi-metal trio with the roosters. And that metal is not a helpful thing. It's so much metal. But it kind of, in a way, is interesting because the surge of that is kind of like, well, we're reforming the government and we're taking back control. Could be that simple. The snake is yang fire, is the new identification of France saying, this is our sovereign self. This is who we are. This is us. And it feels very confident, very clearly confident. No questions. It's rooted in the patriarchy. And there is a sense of thriving, a sense of taking action that feels good, positive, but those are under the ground things. Kind of like the seeds that are fueling, as we are here, this is who we are. This is the action we take. And the action that we take feels good that we're able to do that. So how do I see next year for France? I think it is going to be a year of transformation into this new government. Partly the reason I say transformation is because of their president is going to bring that in order for the new government to happen. And this is how like the president of a company could go, or the parents of a family. We all can be impacted by the collective of how we are in these families, countries, corporations. The collective astrology and how we interact with each other is impactful for sure. And I wish France and their government every bit of good fortune and blessing as I would any country, for we all are deserving of goodness. We're all deserving of the ability to thrive. I thank you so much for sticking with me. It was a big reading. I hope you found it interesting. Until next time, friends, please be well.